Hey, welcome. We are in Chapter 4, working on page 4-26, and we're going to create new layers on the Layers panel. You should open InDesign document 4-5, and we're going to do a File and Save As. This is going to be a Layers intro, underscore your name, last name, and initial. And on page 4-26, you'll see that in the Layers panel, the InDesign document that we have open now has one default layer. It's called Layer 1, and all the layers on this spread are on Layer 1. And you can see that if you click on this down-facing arrow, and here's all the items that are in this document, and they're all situated on Layer 1. We're going to double-click Layer 1 on the Layers panel, and the Layers dialog box is supposed to open. Just a minute here. Sure it will. If you can't get it to open, you can do a right click on it. If you can't get it to open by double clicking, which mine was having an issue with that, I did a right click and I'm going to look for layer options for Layer 1. This brings up the layer options dialog box, and in this box you can change the settings for Layer 1, such as its name and selection color. We're going to type tints in this box. Whoops, tints. And that's the only change we're going to click to this, and we're going to say OK. Then we're going to create a new layer, and the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to the bottom of the Layers panel. We're going to create new layer, and then we are going to again try to double click Layer 2. Doesn't work again, so I'm going to do a control click, which is right click, and then we are going to bring up layer options. We're going to type images for the name of this layer, and then we are going to click the color list arrow, and we're going to look for orange. Click OK. And we are going to again click the Layers panel options button, not again, but this time we're going to click on the down-facing arrow, which is the Layer panel options button. And we're going to click New Layer. So this is showing you a couple of different ways that you can create a new layer. We're going to type text in the name box, and then we're going to click the color list arrow. We're going to click purple, which is right in front of me, right? Dark brown violet, purple, and then we're going to click OK. And your Layers panel should resemble 46 in the textbook on page 4-26, or My Layers panel on your screen. Now we're going to position the appropriate objects on the layers. We're going to press V to access the selection tool, and then we're going to select the 7 images on the spread. The way you're going to do that is click and then hold down your Shift key, and you don't want to, remember, you don't want to click on that little circle. You want to click over here to the side. That's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then just to test to make sure that I have all 7 images selected, I always hit my delete key, and then I do a Command or Control Z to undo that delete. I know that I've got them all selected. And then you'll see that the tints layer on the Layers panel is highlighted, which means that the selected items icon appears next to the layer name, which it does. We're going to click and drag the selected items button from the tints layer up to the images layer. So we're going to click, drag this up to the images layer. The 7 images are moved to the images layer, And then you'll also see that, and as shown on figure 47, the selection edges around the frames are now orange, which is the same color that we assigned to that images layer. And then we're going to click the eye icon on the images layer to hide that layer. Now we're going to select the 4 text frames on the left page. So here's 1. You're going to hold down Shift, and there's 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to hit delete to make sure that I have all 4. I do, and I'm going to do Command Z to undelete those. And then we're going to drag the selected items icon up to the text layer, and again that's on tints. We're going to select that and drag it up to the text layer. And you'll see that all of those text boxes now have that purple selection or bounding box around them, indicating that they're now on the text layer. All right, then let's see. You want to note that the text wrap is still affecting the text, which it is, even though the images layer containing the images is hidden. Now we're going to show the images layer. We're going to click the selected images icon on the images layer. First you want to show it, and then we're going to select that icon. All objects on the images layer are selected, and all of the objects on the text layer are deselected. Now we're going to select the text layer. We're going to click the rectangle tool. Then we're going to draw a small rectangle anywhere on the page. Because the text layer was selected on the layers panel, the new rectangle is positioned on the text layer, which it is. And remember, I tried to do that in class today. Did not work for the life of me, but it does work here, so that's good. Now we're going to verify that the fill button is active on the tools panel, which it is. That's at the foreground. And we're going to click tan on the swatches panel. And then we're going to remove any stroke if necessary. And I do have a stroke around mine, so I'm going to bring the stroke square to the foreground, and then I'm going to place none because I don't want a stroke around that. All right, then we're going to click the top left reference point on the control panel. I'm going to go up to the control panel. We're selecting the top left reference point. And then we're going to enter 0 in the X text box. Hit Tab. We're going to enter 0 in the Y text box and hit Tab. And then we're going to enter 12.5 in the W text box. Hit Tab. And then we are going to enter 4.75 in the H or height text box and hit Tab. The rectangle should cover the entire spread, which it does. Because the rectangle is the newest object created, it is at the top of the stacking order on the text layer, which we wouldn't know because our layers panel is gone. Yeah, here it is. And you'll see that that rectangle is the top layer in that whole stacking order of layers. Still selected, we're going to go to Object on the menu bar. We're going to point to Arrange, and we're going to click Send to Back. Then compare your spread to figure 49 or mine on the screen. The rectangle is at the back of the stacking order of the text layer, but because the text layer is at the top of the layers panel, which it is, The rectangle is in front of all of the images and all of the tints on the layers below. You see that we can't see any of that. So now we're going to drag that selected items button down to the tints layer. Click on that and drag it down to the tints layer. And the rectangle is moved to the tints layer. It is at the top of the stacking order on the tints layer, so the green is not available or not visible. We're going to click to Object on the menu bar. We're going to point to Arrange. We're going to send to back. And then as shown in figure 50 or mine on the screen, the tan rectangle is at the bottom of the stacking order on the tints layer, which you can see. And then we're going to do a Command or Control S to save our work. Now we're going to change the order of layers on the Layers panel. We're going to get the Selection tool. We're going to deselect all, and I deselect all by just clicking off on the artboard, so it deselects everything on the layout. And then we're going to drag the tints layer to the top of the Layers panel. Click, drag, and drop that above everything. As shown in figure 51, or mine on the screen, a thick line appears indicating where the layer will be positioned when dragged, which is what happened. We're going to drag the text layer to the top of the Layers panel. And then we're going to drag the Images layer to the top of the Layers panel. We're going to click the empty square next to the text layer name, and that's going to lock the layer. And then you're going to compare your Layers panel to figure 52 or mine on the screen. The lock icon appears when it's locked, indicating the layer is now locked. We're going to do a Command or Control S to save the file. Now we're going to group items on the layer, and then I'm going to save this out and upload it so you have an opportunity to watch it. We're going to click the triangle next to the images on the Layers panel. And then see figure 53 or mine on the screen. The triangle expands the layer to show the objects on the layer. The 7 frames are listed on the layer with the names of the images pasted into them. We're going to select the first 4 small frames at the bottom of the layout. That's not one of the small ones either, so I'm going to select here, and then I'm going to hold down my Shift and select. They wanted the first 4, so I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit delete again to make sure that I have those 4, which I do, and then I'm going to do a Command Z. And then we're going to go to Object on the menu bar, and we're going to click Group. And those objects are now grouped, and you'll see that the 4 selected objects are moved into a folder called Group, which they are. We're going to click the triangle to expand the group folder, which I just did. And then we're going to select the 5th thumbnail frame on the layout and compare your screen to figure 54 or mine on the screen. The selected items icon is activated beside the 5th thumbnail, which it is. Because this image is not part of the group, it's not within the group folder, which you can tell because these are indented to show those that are part of the group folder, and this is not. So we're going to click and drag the 5th thumbnail layer into the middle of the group, as shown in figure 55 or mine on the screen. We're going to deselect all, and then we're going to click on the leftmost of the 5 thumbnails on the layout with the selection tool. And you can see by the selection marks that the 5th thumbnail is now a part of that group. We're going to lock the group folder so that your layers panel resembles 56, figure 56, or mine on the screen. When you expand a layer, you can lock and hide individual objects on a layer. In this example, the images layer has 7 images on it, but only 5 of them are locked. And you'll see that as well. We're going to save our work, Command or Control S, and then we're going to close the layers intro, and I will be back shortly to upload another demo. Thank you.